Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoatman.com. Welcome to Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness, a daily podcast devoted to spirituality and self-help. If you're new, I want to welcome you. If you're returning, welcome back. So I wanted to talk to you all today about getting back up again. What does getting back up again mean anyway? Well, if you've had a life like I have, I've had a lot of experiences where I feel like I was knocked on my butt. And people always said to me, you got to get back up. You got to get back on that horse again. And going through the different experiences I've had when people said that to me, I felt really resentful. Like, what do you mean I have to keep going, get back up on that horse again? That's really easy for you to say. That's a stupid piece of advice. When you're going through those tough situations, you don't want to hear the cliches that people are going to tell you. But I'm here to talk about this particular one. Get back up again. Because it's had a lot of meaning for me in my life. And I feel like a lot of you need to hear this. I know that many people are going through difficult situations because many of you follow me on Facebook or on Instagram, and I follow you back. And I see the posts that are put out there, and I know that many of you are trying to live your best life and you're trying to be positive. But life happens. Let's just face it. Life happens to us, and sometimes we have no control over it. In fact, a lot of times we don't have control over what happens to us, but we do have control over how we react to it and what we do after that thing happens. Every person alive experiences at some point in their life moments where they get knocked off their feet. And I kind of like to call them tower moments because there's a card in the tarot deck that is the tower. And it's when things come crumbling down. It's equivalent to someone pulling the rug out from under your feet, something happening that was unexpected, and it totally rocks and shakes your whole world. It shakes and tumbles your whole foundation. And those moments are often life-changing. But we have a choice. We can allow them to change our lives and make us bitter people who are unforgiving, who want to stay stuck where we are because we're just so unhappy with what happened and it's so unfair. And we're going to just be the victim because that's a safe place to be. Or we can let it change us and teach us a lesson. We can allow it to teach us how to regroup, how to become stronger, how to become better. You know, I think about, and I've talked about this before, I know, but the ancient Japanese art of taking broken pieces of pottery. So let's say you have a cup made of china that was broken. They take the pieces of this broken cup and they put it back together with gold. And so when they're finished, the cup is stronger than ever before. And it's more beautiful because filling the cracks is now gold. So it shines where it was once broken. And what I love about getting up after you've been knocked down is we have the ability to go from being these broken beings to these beautifully broken beings. And what I mean by that is we go from being what some might consider ugly because we have chips and pieces missing to now these beautiful pieces of art because we put our lives back together with gold and with light. So we become even more beautiful than we were before. And it is possible for us to do that. I know because I've done this many times in my life. When I think about the many times in my life where I've been knocked off my feet and I had a choice to either stay down, continue to be angry and upset and hurt and play the victim, or to get up again and to use what I learned and to go out there and be even better than I was before. And for me, there have been a lot of moments. One of the moments that was very profound for me was my divorce. And I'll be talking about this extensively in my book that I have coming out. But I was totally knocked off my feet. I didn't know where to turn after that. I had this life that honestly, I didn't even like. I really wasn't happy with where I was. I was in a marriage that was toxic, where my ex used to call me names and treat me terribly, and my self-esteem totally fell through, like it bottomed out. I had nothing left as far as that is concerned. And I could have continued on after the divorce. I could have said, this is all his fault. This is his fault. He should have to pay for this. But I didn't. And I didn't become one of those people who was hell-bent on revenge. I got like the minimum child support that they gave, based on his job at the time, which was nothing. It was like a Best Buy job. And I still get the same amount of child support today because it's not about revenge. It's not about making him pay. It was about me. And how can I pick myself up? What can I learn? And how do I dust myself off? And even along the way, on the way to recovery from this divorce, there were lessons that knocked me off my feet. I'm not at all naive. I understand that even though I tried to be a good parent and I tried not to put him down or just to be vengeful with him, he definitely did not respect the same with me. And there were a lot of times where he used my children against me. I don't know what all he has said to them about me, but I know that he has filled their head with lies. And there's not really a lot that I could do really at the time that wouldn't look like I was picking on him and trying to get revenge on him. It was never about that for me. My concern was just my kids, that I don't want them to suffer or to be hurting. And it's very difficult when you're dealing with someone who isn't mentally stable to protect them all the time. But the thing that I could do that was best for them was to make sure that I had full custody and that time was, spent with them, but was kind of limited too, for their own good. And to just support them when I had them. And so that's what I did. Was I perfect? No. But part of my lesson was that I don't sink to his level. I don't have to do that. I don't have to meet evil with evil. That it was to rise up. And I think that my kids finally understand what I did for them and that I wasn't going to sink to that level. And in the long run, that's what they're going to remember, So that was a tower moment for me, and I had several along the way where I could have just stayed down, where my kids would come home and say things that their dad said about me. And I could have buried my head under the blankets, and I chose not to. Or finding out that he had been married for a long time and made the kids lie about it, and never having met the stepmother. Who does that? And who does that to their kids? Puts them in that position. But I know that I want to be better than that. I know that I have my own karma and he has his. And torturing someone is not on my list of things that I want to do. So he can go ahead and do his own thing, because I know some of your tower moments have to deal with people and other people doing things to you. And I just want to reiterate that, you have to be the better person and the bigger person and to rise above it. Revenge should not be something that is even on your radar, because karma will take care of people. Trust me. What people do to you is their karma, but how you react is yours. And I truly believe that. There have been a lot of moments in my life where I could have said, hey, I blame these people for this happening in my life. But what does that do? Does that change the situation? No, it does not. Even if I said, well, this is all my ex-husband's fault and he's the reason that I have low self-esteem and that my life is the way it is, so I'm going to go get revenge on him, would that have made my life better? No. It would have made my life, the lives of my children, worse, because they would have gotten it from both sides. So it's about picking yourself up and saying, what is the lesson? What was I supposed to learn here? And I truly believe that a big part of the lessons that I was supposed to learn when I was going through my divorce was not to sink to that level, to stand up for myself, but not to sink to the level of I'm going to get revenge and I'm going to take you for everything. No. I know that the universe is always supporting me. So I don't need to go get the best lawyer and take the most money that I can from my ex. I know how to make money myself, and I know that I'm being taken care of, so I don't need him for that. And if anything, I want to teach my children that you don't have to rely on others. You've got everything you need to be successful yourself. And it's better to not accept help from someone who would hold it over your head anyway. And he would. And another tower moment for me, of course, was just recently, a year ago, as I was going through my spiritual awakening. And at that point, I really kept saying to myself, there has to be more to life than this. Like, this can't be it. I felt like I was just getting up every day and doing the same thing over and over again. I felt like the movie Groundhog Day. I felt like my life was just on repeat. Like it's just more of the same every single day. And I wasn't truly appreciating my life or everything that I had, or realizing how much control I have over changing my life. If I'm not happy with something, I don't have to keep allowing it to happen. I don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And that's what I was doing. I was doing the same thing and expecting my life to magically get better. And it's just not going to happen. So sometimes the tower moments are there for us to wake us up and to say, listen, you've got to do something different. This path you're on, it's not working for you. In fact, I know we get those tower moments for that reason. And it might be because you're in a job where you're stuck and you hate it and it's not what you want to be doing. Or it might be because you're in a relationship where you're unhappy and nothing exciting is going on. And not that a relationship has to be fireworks every day, but you know when you've lost connection with someone you love. Someone that was once there for you and you had sparks with, suddenly it's like nothing. You don't have anything in common anymore. And that happens. It does. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing at all to be ashamed of. I was listening to someone the other day and they said that divorce used to be a very shameful thing. But the thing that's a shameful thing now is staying in a relationship where you're unhappy and there's no love. And I truly believe that. And a lot of people, unfortunately, do that. And they do it for many reasons. For some people, it's financial. They think they can't make it without their spouse and their spouse's income. Or it's for their kids. You know, we have to be good role models for our kids and we have to be there for our kids. And I'm here to tell you that you're teaching your kids about love by example. So when they see you in an unhappy marriage, they think that's what marriage is, and that's exactly where they're headed. because they'll say, this is all I deserve. This is how it's supposed to be. This is how you get treated. And that was one of the driving forces for me to leave, was that I realized that I was teaching my kids that it was okay, number one, for my son to treat someone the way that I was being treated, and two, for my daughter to be treated that way. And I was not about to let that happen. That was the biggest influence for me leaving, was no, nobody's going to treat them that way. And for some of you, I think your intentions are good, but you're sticking around in situations for all of the wrong reasons. And you may feel like you've been knocked down, but sometimes the universe does things to get your attention. Sometimes health problems arise to get your attention. Sometimes we lose our job because the universe said, you weren't supposed to be there anyway. Like, you weren't supposed to be there this long. We had to move you. You weren't going to move yourself. Or a relationship breaks up because the universe says, you weren't going to move your feet. I know that's what happened in my last relationship. I was staying when I really wasn't happy. I just didn't really want to be alone. And that's the wrong reason to stay. Because it's better to be alone and be happy than be with someone who makes you feel alone. And unfortunately, many of us find ourselves in those kinds of relationships where you're giving and giving and you're not getting anything back. And I know that some of you may be processing what's going on around you, and we all have different situations. For some people, it's your job. For some people, it's your relationship. For some people, it might be your relationship with your kids or your home, or there's some aspect of your life where you know the universe is trying to talk to you and you're not listening. And I'll be the first person to tell you that there have been times in my life where I didn't listen and the universe said, well, here you go. We're going to knock down this foundation because you weren't listening to us. We were trying to give you hints. We were telling you what to do and you didn't listen. So now it's up to us. We have to step in and take over and move you because you weren't going to move. We get in our comfort zones. They're not even happy places necessarily. They're just comfortable. It's like I'm doing what I've always done because I know this and this is who I am and this is what I've been. So I'm not going to move because it's comfy. And the universe says, why are you staying in your pajamas all day in that comfort zone when there's life happening out here that would make you so excited and happy and you're not even moving towards it? What are you doing with your life? And of course you get the, I'm too old. No, you're not. You're never too old. Never. At 90 years old, if you decided that you wanted to go out and run a marathon, you could do it because there are people who've done it. Now, it will never be me. You will never find me running a marathon because I do not like to run. Maybe walking one, but not running. But the universe is telling you there's life out there. You know, I think about my mom. I wanted her to go with us on this trip to Europe this last time we went. And she didn't want to go because she didn't want to fly. So she didn't go on this whole 2-week awesome adventure simply because she didn't want to be on a plane for 8 hours. And we kept telling her, you know, you can take medication to make you sleepy or whatever. No, I don't want to. So she allowed the fear of flying to rob her of what could have been a really awesome time. She stayed in that comfort zone. That comfort zone was too easy to stay in. And then people kept asking her, why didn't you go? And she would say, well, I could have gone if I wanted to go. But you didn't. You stayed in that comfort zone and you missed out. And that's what I think the universe is trying to tell us is you're going to miss out. Quit staying stuck where you are. If you get knocked down, get back up again. Keep moving forward. Don't stay stuck in that victim mentality where it's comfortable. It's more comfortable to say it's everyone else's fault than for you to look at yourself and say, what was my role in that? Because my bad marriage was not 100% my ex-husband's fault. We both shared 100% of our own responsibility in that, and I could have blamed him forever and said that's his fault. But I know that's a lie. It's my fault for staying as long as I did and waiting for the universe to really send me a shakeup. That's my fault. It's my fault for not sticking up for myself. There are things I could have done differently. But instead of blaming, I chose to see the lesson and to take the lesson with me and to continue to use what I've learned to propel me forward. And I know it's only going to go up from here. Does it mean that life's going to be perfect from here on out and things are never going to come and test me? No, it doesn't. But it means that I'm prepared. I've studied. I'm ready for the lessons. Because I've already done the work. Like a student preparing for a test. If you show up on test day having done nothing, your chances of passing are not very big. But if you've studied, you've reviewed mistakes you've made in the past and you've corrected them, and you show up ready, your chances are great. And that's pretty much what we're doing. We're taking those moments where we fall. We're saying, okay, universe, God, source, I hear you. I know you're trying to get my attention. What's the lesson? What was I supposed to learn this time? And then taking it and actually using it, because you're going to continue to be tested until you pass. That's just how it is. I've been tested many times over the same topic in my life. And I finally feel like I'm getting somewhere. I'm learning, and I'm continuing to learn. So don't be discouraged by the moments that you might consider tower moments. They're here to teach you a lesson. They're here to make you a better person, to become more beautiful and stronger than you were before. You become beautifully broken. Your strength is in picking yourself back up, putting yourself back together, and allowing the cracks to be filled with light so that you become an even more beautiful version of yourself. And I think it's amazing and beautiful that we have the ability to do that. And I commend any of you who are out there trying to put your lives back together, because I know how difficult that can be. It's a process. So have patience with yourself. And just know that better days are coming. When you do the work, the universe rewards you. So keep going. You've got this. I wanted to pull a card for you, and I decided to use The Universe Has Your Back, the deck by Gabrielle Bernstein. And for me, it's a huge God wink because on the card that I picked is a blue butterfly, which is a symbol for me. It's all about transformation. We go from being these meek, timid caterpillars who spin ourselves into a cocoon, trying to prepare ourselves for change and learning our lessons. And that whole process can be extremely painful and ugly. But then we emerge as these beautiful butterflies who are just shells of our former selves. We shine, and people can't stop looking at us because our light just shines so brightly. And the message on the card today was, I surrender to a power greater than me. You know, when you feel like you just can't keep going, where you don't understand why something is happening, that's when it's time for you to surrender. You can absolutely humble yourself and say, I don't understand what this is about. Please help me understand this. Please shed some light on this. Show me my next steps. And the universe will do that for you. You'll gain clarity. Sometimes it comes when you're sleeping. So I always encourage keeping a dream journal next to your bed. Sometimes it just comes in as a thought that you have. And sometimes you just know what to do. And don't get discouraged, because sometimes our steps are only illuminated one at a time. So you may not be able to see the bigger picture, but you'll always be able to see the next step. It's like when you're using a GPS program and the next step is the only thing that appears on the screen. You have to go to the directions in order to get all of the steps illuminated for you. And I don't know about you, but I found that when I try to do that, when I go to see what my next 4 or 5 steps are going to be, it confuses me and I can't remember them anyway. So I feel like that's the purpose in only highlighting one step at a time, because the universe doesn't want us to get confused and overwhelmed. The universe just wants us to see, this is your next step. Keep going. I'll keep lighting the way. Just keep on the path. So keep going. You are strong. You've got this. Everything is working out perfectly for you. Just remember that. When you feel discouraged, just remember everything is working out perfectly for you. You have a choice every day to either react emotionally to situations or to keep calm and realize that no matter what happens, the universe is in your corner. You are being divinely guided, and the universe is orchestrating everything behind the scenes. You don't even know what's happening behind the scenes. And if you did, you'd be amazed that the universe is trying to align you with this person or this opportunity. It's crazy the way that works. So keep the faith. And if you feel like you're struggling and you need some help and some guidance, you can always book a session with me. I offer intuitive life coaching sessions. I help people understand the next steps when they can't see it clearly for themselves. I can help you heal from emotional or physical pain. We can look at past lives. There's so many ways I can help you. So book a session with me. You can either book online or you can just contact me directly. You can text me, call me, email me, message me on Facebook or Instagram. There's so many ways to get a hold of me. And work with me. Allow me to show you how I can help you feel better and feel like you're taking control of your life again. It's a great feeling when you finally understand where you're headed. I want to thank you guys so much for listening. If you have not subscribed to my podcast, please do. That helps others find me. And if you would leave a review for me from wherever you're listening, I would really appreciate that. It only takes you a minute, but it means the world to me. And I really appreciate all of you who have already done that. That also helps others to find my podcast. I want to thank you so much for listening. I am going to start doing my Facebook Lives again starting next week. So be looking for that. I just needed a little time to get my classroom together and to rest from my amazing trip. It was a little exhausting. So I'm glad to finally be feeling back to normal again. So my energy is back. So I will be back next week. In the meantime, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. If you subscribe to my website, you will get a free morning and evening meditation. So if you haven't done that, go do that. I love you all. I am sending you massive love and light. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will talk to you soon.